Welcome to the PI Podcast, your destination for everything NFL, discussing the latest news and providing in-depth analysis of every NFL game. And now, here are your hosts, Ian and Tesh.
Hey guys, what is up? PI Podcast back with episode number 42. And today is gonna be a very, very interesting topic that we're gonna start off with. I don't think we have too much either, so definitely another gonna be kind of like a Q&A stuff kind of thing again. Definitely Drake, we see you. Appreciate you for being here. And
yes, sir.
So we've been I just got this hobby box. There's gonna be a video on the second channel soon, so when we upload that, give you the link. It's gonna be starting very soon though, as soon as I upload some videos. But yeah. First thing first, Ian. Julio Jones has recently been linked to the Dallas Cowboys and the Atlanta Falcons. What are the chances he goes back to my Falcons?
I think it's a pretty good chance, actually. Excuse me, eating some French fries. I haven't ate dinner yet, but we got to do what we got to do. Sometimes we got to eat on the podcast. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, really, the only two places I could see Julio going is Atlanta or the Colts. What's up, Eddie?
Yeah, what's up, Eddie? Appreciate you for stopping by. And Julio Jones, if he's on the Falcons, I would be the happiest guy alive. I don't care if he got traded or whatever. He's just gonna, if he comes back, we can get him for very cheap. And imagine that offense now with Julio Jones, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Braylon Edwards. Our receiving core is gonna look good again. And if we get Calvin Ridley back next year, Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts. Imagine that offense.
Yeah, and a potential at grabbing someone else next year in the draft.
Exactly. So
I mean, you got potential there at that position.
yeah, and it will just if Desmond Ridder does start, it just makes it easier for him as well when you got a stud tight end Kyle Pitts, a stud wide receiver in Julio Jones, a stud in Calvin Ridley, and a soon to be stud in Calvin Ridley. Oh my God, you're calling everyone, Eddie.
Daisy wanted to come join the stream.
Up.
Go lay down.
See some tricks.
Go lay down. Go lay down now.
That was a special guest, Daisy, Ian's dog.
Yep, that was Daisy. I don't think my other dog would jump up here.
Okay.
Wait, what just happened?
What? Wait, what happened?
I lost restore. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Let's hope that comes back now because for some reason YouTube and Twitch just shit the bed on me. So I don't know what the comments are saying.
Oh, okay.
Now it's back. Okay, now it's back.
Cool. So if Julio Jones was also linked to the Cowboys, potentially,
I could kind of see that.
I don't see that happening as much as the Falcons, just because do they really want to pay another wide receiver? I mean, they would get Julio for at least a $2 million deal probably. But do they really want another wide receiver there when they already have CeeDee Lamb and they still have Michael Gallup there? It's possible, but I just don't see Julio Jones going to Dallas. Even though before Julio Jones got traded, he took a picture with a fan and had a Dallas hoodie on, so people thought he was going to Dallas and stuff like that. So yeah, it's very, very possible.
Yeah, I think Julio wants to go to a winner, or he would be happy going to Atlanta or the Colts. I think obviously the Colts are in win now mode, so it's not like It's not like that wouldn't be a winning team. I'm not saying that like that. It's just like Julio's on that back half of his career where like he's accomplished a lot except a ring.
Yeah.
So like I could see him pursuing a ring, but there's not a lot of teams I could see him playing for.
Julio is a free agent at this moment, Eddie. Yeah, he hasn't been picked up by anybody yet, which is a little surprising. I know he was injured. He's been injured the last few years and even last year, but it's still surprising because he's probably the top wide receiver on that free agent list right now. So it's crazy that no one even has looked at him because of his talent, regardless if he's injured or not, and his ability to teach younger receivers route running and everything. He's a very good teacher. That's why you see Calvin Ridley doing these crispy routes. That's why you see Roddy White. Roddy White taught Julio a little bit, and then you saw Julio Jones teaching Russell Gage, teaching Calvin Ridley. It only got better from there. So yeah, he sent 40 million to cover him. Oh my God, Drake can't buy any more jerseys. I really wanted Desmond Ridder or Drake London jersey and a Matt Ryan jersey. I need a lot of jerseys. Damn. Ooh, I don't know if the Falcons probably won't go for Odell because they like what they have at receiver right now. But same could be said for Julio. I think the only reason why Julio would come back to the Falcons is because they know Julio Jones is a Falcon. Was a Falcon most of his career, and he's familiar and he might want to come home, and they can definitely get him for cheap. Odell, I think is gonna be very, very. We don't know how he's gonna look like after.
That was funny.
After his ACL tear. What the?
Optimistical, cynical. You're literally just gonna have to. You're just gonna have to explain the process of life.
Oh my God.
Fish comes into the world. They live a little bit. Then they die. That's what happens.
Yep.
Then you do a little funeral down the toilet. That's.
Remember to mention we're all gonna die someday.
Okay, here's a real question. If you died tomorrow and you could come back as something, what would you want to come back as?
I think I might come back. That's a tough question. That is very tough. Oh, I'd come back as a T-Rex.
What the fuck? Repeat that?
I'd come back as a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Oh wait, did you mean alive? The animals that are alive?
Yeah,
okay.
obviously.
Well, wow. I wanted to be outside the box, alright? I would be probably another human.
Another human. What kind of human would you want to be?
I don't know.
Eddie, I could see someone pursuing Odell, but late in the season. I think he's going to be like a week 15, 16 pickup in free agency for a team pushing for a playoff spot.
Whoa, empty prods. Calm down. No Falcons or Jaguars slander on the podcast here.
Odell to the Packers. Like I said, I could see it late season because, like I said, the Packers are in a weird situation where their receiving core is not what it has looked like in a long time. They have a pretty weak receiving core, in my opinion. Obviously, with Aaron Rodgers, he's going to make the best out of whoever's on his team, but Odell would be a good fit for the Packers late in the season, especially like someone like Sammy Watkins, who hasn't stayed healthy all season. Is going to be the best bet in my opinion.
I think Odell, Aaron Rodgers would love to have Odell on his team. I think he would provide another threat to that offense. With Sammy Watkins. Not saying Sammy Watkins is going to emerge as that true number one receiver that he should have been when he was a draft pick, but Odell in him and Sammy Watkins, I think Aaron Rodgers would love to have that. And it's not completely replacing Devontae Adams because it's hard to replace Devontae Adams, but you did the best you could if Odell goes there. I don't think Odell's going to go Packers. I think he might sign with the Rams again if because he really likes that organization and he likes that team. Odell
That
available
would be a good
mid-season.
spot for. So here's
Yeah.
the thing with Odell too. If someone does pick him up early, it's going to go to a team with a stacked wide receiver core because they're going to be putting an investment in someone that can't play until late. So like if he does get signed early, um, he's going to go to a stacked team that does not need him right away and he can heal, get back to 100%. They're grabbing him in hopes he's ready for the playoffs, which I think he would be. But a team I think would be interesting to see Odell go back to Ohio, but to Cincinnati.
With Joe Burrow, that would be very interesting because he goes against the Browns 2 times
The
a
LSU
year.
boys? Oh.
Oh my god.
The Saints would be an awesome option too. I'd like to see him. I mean, I used to not like Odell because I thought he was a diva, but after watching what he did with the Rams and just the amount of effort he put in, I started liking Odell better.
Yeah, if Jarvis and Odell were an awesome pair in Cleveland, it just they didn't know Baker couldn't really figure out how to use Odell, or that offensive or coaching staff didn't know how to use Odell the way he's supposed to be used. So we didn't see too much of Odell being there. Yeah, definitely. If Odell didn't tear his ACL, someone would have picked him up right away.
He would have gotten the biggest. He would have got one of the biggest contracts this offseason from wide receivers. And wide receivers got some money. I don't think he would have beat Devontae Adams. Probably wouldn't have beat Tyreek Hill's money, but he would have definitely beat like Christian Kirk's money. I mean, he would have got $100 million contract easy.
Yeah. He definitely would have got his money's worth. It just sucked to see him tear his ACL in the Super Bowl. Literally on a drag route. It wasn't anything too hard or something that you think he'd tear it on, but it's just I really wish he didn't tear his ACL in the Super Bowl because I would have loved to see him at least be Super Bowl MVP even if he could have.
Yeah. It was really cool to see the Rams grab him at the end and then make a run. I mean, really at the beginning of the season, as soon as they got Matthew Stafford, they were my favorite to at least make the Super Bowl, the Rams. And then, okay, Tej is just leaving us, I guess. Okay. Tampa picking him up. Rumors Tampa might pick him up. That's interesting as well.
Ooh.
I could see it though because Tom Brady, I mean, he doesn't care who's on his team. He just wants to win games, and I could see him making a push for someone like Odell.
Yeah, the only thing with Tampa Bay is that they have so many. They signed some receivers, and they already have a lot of wide receivers over there. So I'm not sure.
But that's the kind of team I think he's going to go to, is a team with a stacked wide receiver room. Like I said, he's going to need to get healthy.
Yeah, and if they get a meat season, they can see where they're at their wide receiver core and kind of play with it as well. So, if Russell Gage doesn't do as well as he did, or what did it do as good, or something like that, they can literally pick up Odell when he's healthy again if they want to go for another playoff run.
MT, yes, we have talked about Russell Gage a lot lately. Bull mascot or Pratesh is a Falcons fan, so he got to watch Russell Gage all last year. Tom's gonna have fun with Russell Gage, a lot of fun.
Yeah, Russell Gage has emerged a little bit as a good wide receiver 2-ish 3 receiver, and I think his route running and the way he can jump up and make contested catches. You saw it in Atlanta. You saw it no matter where Matt Ryan threw the ball. He literally would go up and make these spectacular catches, and he's not the tallest guy in the world either. So with Tom Brady as his quarterback, I think that he's gonna get a lot more receptions, but also they still have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin there. So I'd like to see Russell Gage get a lot more touchdowns, but they still have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin there.
Yeah, Tampa's gonna make a run again. I mean, they're in the best position to win in the NFC, other than the Rams.
Yeah. I really want to. Odell could go anywhere mid-season, and it's because of his ACL tear that he hasn't been picked up. I just like to see him go somewhere that he wants to and see him play again. I mean, I wish I would have saw him play the whole Super Bowl. He was looking like he was gonna
I
go for
know.
over 100 yards and some touchdowns. He was looking like he was gonna have a really good game in the Super Bowl.
Hey, I appreciate that, Drake.
Oh yeah, appreciate it.
Always love when you invite people to the podcast.
Yeah, I appreciate you for being here, MT Productions.
Let's see.
Yeah, so we definitely don't want too much right now, so definitely if you guys have any questions for us, let us know right now. Anything you want us to talk about, definitely.
We're getting
Definitely.
closer and closer to the NFL season finally starting.
We say this every podcast, but it's true. Every time we turn on this podcast, the NFL season just another week closer. So I really hope you guys are excited for what's to come. There's gonna be a lot of news, breaking news, a lot of football, a lot of coverage, a lot of everything.
I'm just updating Twitter to see if anything's happened in the last little bit of time.
Yeah, I think I remember Drake. Yeah, that was the first video that brought you the kind of YouTube showed you was their Falcons offense video I made. That's pretty cool.
Sorry if Falcons videos brought you here.
Oh, at least it wasn't a Jaguar video that brought you here. Definitely a heartbreak all year, every year.
Except this year. I got faith. I've got faith.
Oh man.
This is gonna be a fun year. I think last year was a really good season. I think this offseason has really hyped us up for a very entertaining 2022 season. This offseason was I've paid attention to all the off seasons in the past, like that I can remember. But, like, this is the one that, like, I think the most crazy things happen. It almost felt like an NBA type off season where all these superstars are like going to other teams. It's like it was actually really fun to watch the off season this year.
Yeah, there's so much going on, and a lot of star players, not just players that are like third wide receiver, fourth wide receiver, or just depth signings. It's definitely just crazy how these superstar players, you don't see that happening a lot in the NFL every year. This was the year that all these superstars had decided, hey, I need to go to another team, and some teams were like, hey, I need to get this guy for our team because he's a superstar, and we're gonna need him here for a Super Bowl run.
I don't know that many rules. You just have to say a trade that I knew could happen.
We don't know too many trade rules, but I appreciate it.
All right. So Baker Mayfield's still not on a team.
I know. It's kind of...
So this offseason has been very good so far, but we still don't know about Baker Mayfield's situation. That's one more big thing, and Jimmy G's. One more big thing that still needs to happen.
Those two quarterbacks right there.
MT Production said, I'm just ready to see some football, and with this crazy offseason and draft, like the playoffs are going to be stacked, and one of those huge stacked roster teams will make the playoffs. That's 100%. We were talking about this earlier. Only 3 wildcard teams can make it in, and yet you have a division like the AFC West where you've got all 4 teams potentially can make the playoffs. You've got the AFC East where you've got 3 really stacked rosters and the Patriots, the Dolphins, and the Bills. And these guys, one team has to make it, like, win their division, and then you've got 5 teams that I just listed that could potentially make the playoffs, and there's only 3 spots. And that's not including the Titans, who could make a run in the AFC South, the AFC North. You've got all the teams up there could potentially be if Deshaun Watson plays. I mean, literally, the AFC North is just as stacked with Deshaun Watson on the team.
There's so many teams in the AFC that are fighting for that spot, so you're gonna see a really good team not make the playoffs, and they could even have a positive record. If the whole AFC West has a winning record, which is very possible, then one of those teams could could lose out on making the playoffs, and they would probably maybe had a better record than one of these other teams from a different division. And that's just how crazy it is, how much talent got added to the AFC this offseason. There's so many teams fighting, there's so many players fighting for the playoffs. It's going to be a crazy, crazy season.
All right, and then Eddie says, okay, here's a scenario. How likely do you think it is the Browns have Jacoby if Deshaun Watson gets suspended for the season? Do you think they try to do some type of trade, Baker for Jimmy G? That's interesting. I don't think that's even been talked about.
No, that hasn't, and that's a likely scenario too. That could potentially be a very likely scenario because if Deshaun Watson gets suspended the whole year, and they only have Jacoby Brissett, and they want to win now. That's why some of the Browns players re-signed with them too, because they want to win now. And if that happens, then they're gonna have to make a decision. And Baker for Jimmy G, I don't know if San Francisco wants Baker. Maybe as a backup, I could see it, but do the San Francisco 49ers really want Baker Mayfield in their system? I could only see it if they wanted him to be a backup. The only other scenario would be to help. He's a veteran and kind of a veteran. He's young, but also help Trey Lance develop a little bit.
So, with this situation, there's a couple things that have to 100% be sure. One, Deshaun Watson has to be suspended for the entire year for them to make a move like that at quarterback. Two, the 49ers have to believe Trey Lance is undisputedly their guy. There cannot be any guess. So I would think they'd have to at least watch him play throughout the regular season a little bit before they make a move like that. Because, like I said, I got in an argument with someone on Twitter the other day, and he's the one that brought up the point where Jimmy G being injured is why he hasn't been traded yet. But in my opinion, I get it as a business. You have to get something for him. But if you want to show Trey Lance, boost his confidence, just get rid of Jimmy G. Give him away for a pack of peanuts. It doesn't matter. You got to show Trey Lance that he's the guy, no distractions. It's kind of like we say this all the time. Having a veteran ready to take your place is not good for your confidence. I mean, there's such thing as good quarterback competition, but it was similar to the I'm a Jaguars fan if you're new here, so I talk a lot about the Jaguars. But last year, Trevor Lawrence was starting, and you had Gardner Minshew breathing down his neck behind him all throughout training camp. Get that distraction out of the locker room. That is not a distraction that a rookie, a second-year quarterback needs to have. They need to let the team know, the office know, the players know, the quarterbacks know that it's Trey Lance's team. They got to get rid of Jimmy G. For whoever, it doesn't matter. They got to get rid of Jimmy G.
Yeah, MT. Baker. One of the likely scenarios I see happening is Baker to the Panthers and Baker to Seattle. Seattle is kind of in a weird situation right now just because Pete Carroll came out and said that Drew Lock would have been the first quarterback taken in this draft. So he has a very high confidence in Drew Lock. So I don't know if Pete Carroll wants Baker that badly. So there's a very good reason that Panthers could potentially take Baker Mayfield if Matt Corral doesn't work out like they do. And who knows if they're even going to play him this season. We don't know because they still have Sam Darnold up there. I mean, Sam Darnold's not the answer for sure. No. But Matt Corral, I don't know if he's the answer either.
Yeah, so MT Prod also said I see Baker staying in Cleveland until Deshaun plays. Maybe that trade prediction I made happening next season. However, this is his last year under contract, so he's a free agent after this. So it would have to happen this year if they did anything for him.
Yeah, and Eddie just said Seahawks announced today that they never had interest in Baker. I think I saw something like that today. Never had interest in Baker Mayfield, so I definitely it's favoring the Panthers even more now. And I could see him being kind of that bridge quarterback for the Panthers as well if they want to let Matt Corral sit for a year or even be their starter for years to come if Matt Corral doesn't pan out the way they want, and they have that option. And then they could probably release Sam Darnold or trade him. I don't know. Whatever they want to do with Sam Darnold.
I know. Yeah, the Panthers are in a weird situation. They've got the rookie quarterback, but in my opinion, he has to sit and learn. So that means you're trusting Sam Darnold to lead your team for this year. And granted, I get it. This is not a year for them to try to win, I don't think. Um, they're in a really tough division with the Buccaneers and the Saints. And I know you guys aren't Saints fans here, but the Saints have a really loaded roster. They got a new head coach, but it's a guy that's been in the building for a long time, so I don't think there's going to be that much adjustments. I think it's going to be kind of ran the same way Sean Payton ran it. It really just depends on Jameis Winston, and we had a little conversation about this earlier or the other day. That even though yes, Jameis Winston threw for 30-30, imagine had he not thrown those 30 interceptions, like the amount of yardage he would have had or the amount of touchdowns he would have had. I mean, that's something to think about. If he fixes those mistakes and the wide receiver core that they have, the Saints could be dangerous this year.
Yeah, the Saints have a very, very good defensive roster. They added Tyrann Mathieu. They have a lot of pieces on defense. It's Cameron Jordan on that pass rush, who's still very, very good and still getting production off of him. They just have a really good defensive roster, and they have weapons at wide receiver, and they have Alvin Kamara. It's going to depend on Jameis Winston, and if he can lead this team and eat some W's while doing it, and lead that Saints team to a couple of wins, and maybe even competitively against the Buccaneers, which they have beat before. So if they can win some games, beat Bucks, I mean, definitely sky's the limit.
MT. Oh, good. You're a Saints fan. So you actually are a Saints fan. I thought he was just saying that earlier. I thought Drake was just saying that.
I'm pretty sure my MT stands for Michael Thomas, if I'm not wrong.
No.
I'm not sure.
I can't tell. The YouTube chat's so small, I can't tell what the profile picture is.
I can't even see profile pic, but because I'm on Reason chat. Yeah, that Marcus May and Tyrann Mathieu safety duo is gonna be really, really good. I really like Marcus May with the Jets. I don't know why the Jets even let him go. I think Marcus May is very young and he's still
Marcus May
developing, and he can play. That dude can play a safety, and I really like what they're doing with even CJ Gardner-Johnson's decent.
I was going to say, considering the Saints having the talent that they have, they have a lot of young pieces. I mean, it's kind of surprising when you have a defense built like that to have young pieces to build around because you've already got a team built. But the fact that they have some younger pieces on their team is impressive.
Yeah, they have a lot of young pieces. And Jameis, yeah, you're right, MT. Jameis was playing well before he got his ACL torn. And he looked like he was going to have a hell of a season with the Saints before that. So
yeah, I didn't see him eat any crab legs last year either. He looked normal. He looked like a normal quarterback.
Do we see that continue? We'll see. We'll see if Jameis Winston kind of continues from where he left off last year.
And then also, I think a lot of people forget to mention when they talk about weapons in New Orleans, Taysom Hill is a legit weapon that they use perfectly every year. I mean, granted, I feel kind of bad that he doesn't get the quarterback spot. You know, I feel like he's put his body on the line, and the Saints have never really let him be quarterback. But at the same time, they've given him plenty of opportunity to be a quarterback, and he's just not the guy. Kind of like Tim Tebow in a sense, where Tim Tebow should have taken his role somewhere else. Taysom Hill did that, and he has a successful NFL career because he made the switch from quarterback to a gadget-type player.
He's a fighter, Taysom Hill is. Taysom Hill, as much as I don't care for him, he's a fighter, and he literally makes it look like he's one of those tough running backs that just powers through people. And they put him at tight end position. They put him out in slot as well sometimes. They put him wherever they want. And he definitely just fights and has that determination to go fight for that extra yard.
How does that feel talking about the New Orleans Saints in a good way?
Kind of hard, honestly. I mean, but whatever. At least, I mean, some Saints fans are horrible, but MT seems like a cool guy, so I'm okay with talking about it.
I would never talk good about the Tennessee Titans ever.
I mean, if you had to talk about it. Yeah, you have before.
I know. I did good on our Tennessee Titans reaction video. I did all right with that.
Were you holding back stuff?
Yeah.
Like what? Say it
Yeah.
now.
I mean,
You can
there's
say
not
it
much
now.
I can say
Oh,
anymore.
okay.
I mean, I can't name a single receiver on their roster right now, but other than that, I mean,
Other than Traylon Burks.
yeah, I mean that's literally the only guy I can like. When we were doing the reaction plays, if it wasn't AJ Brown or Julio, I had no idea who it was.
They still have Des Fitzpatrick, I think. It was a rookie last year, so. But other than that, Derrick Henry is gonna be a baller there, though.
Derrick Henry's always gonna do his thing, but I'm interested to see how Malik Willis develops, considering that they have a very, I mean, really a rookie quarterback could go in and win games in Tennessee because all you have to do is hand the ball off to Derrick Henry. I mean, granted, I think the Tennessee Titans offense is really built nicely considering that they are a run-heavy team, but Ryan Tannehill still gets 30 to 35 throws a game. I mean, it's not like he's only throwing the ball 20 times and Derrick Henry's touching the ball a million. Like, they really do balance the load a good bit.
Yeah. Take over for a second, Ian.
Yeah. You good? Okay, yeah, you're good. So I was draft night. I mean, we were talking about how good this offseason been. Draft night was crazy because we were we were at the draft party in Jacksonville, and it was crazy that these trades were happening. You know, you heard Hollywood Brown got traded, AJ Brown got traded, and these are all wide receivers, and I think it's because of how much a wide receiver is to pay now. That they were like, hey, these guys are going to be wanting contracts soon. One, Hollywood Brown hasn't competed at a high enough level to warrant one lately. But AJ Brown to the Eagles and them paying him, that was a very smart move by the Philadelphia Eagles. They gave Jalen Hurts a legit weapon. Not only did they give him a legit weapon, they gave it to him in a contract year, basically. Jalen Hurts is going to be playing for his roster spot this year. I think he's going to play well. I think the team's built well to where like anybody could go in there and win a lot of football games. But I think Jalen Hurts is going to make a name for himself this year. And I know I got an Eagles boy in the chat, so I was kind of saying that for him to hear. But at the same time, I really do believe it. Let's see. Tannehill was definitely angered a little bit with the draft pick, but yeah, and I kind of feel for him. I do kind of feel for Ryan Tannehill because I feel like, granted, the Tennessee Titans did him a favor taking him out of Miami because he was not doing it. I mean, his career was going way downhill fast in Miami. So Tannehill got a second chance in Tennessee. He proved he could do the job and do it in a decent manner. But it's a business. They had to draft a guy to eventually replace Ryan Tannehill because Ryan Tannehill is getting older. However, I don't think the Tennessee Titans were a team that really needed to get a quarterback. I think Ryan Tannehill still has a few more years at this level of football left. You're a Traylon Burks fanboy. Well, I mean, he's going to be a hell of a receiver in the league. And yes, like I said, I'm telling you, I'm high on the Eagles. The Eagles, in my opinion, should be the best team in the NFC East. On paper, they are. I think the Cowboys are loaded, but I do not trust Mike McCarthy at all to lead a team. And when you say that to people, they start talking about, well, he's got Super Bowl ring. He's got this big winning record as a head coach because he's had Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers his entire career. And what does he do when he comes down to Dallas? He's won it out in the playoffs. And I get like the year before Dak went down with a pretty bad injury, but still, I don't have any faith in Mike McCarthy. I think they have a decent roster, but like I said, they lost a lot of pieces on that team. They lost one of the better right tackles in football. They lost two of their wide receivers. Ezekiel Elliott's going downhill, and the Eagles have gotten better at literally every single position this offseason. Obviously, they didn't do anything at quarterback, but I mean, like I said, I believe in Jalen Hurts. I'm actually thinking about going after him in fantasy this year because I think he's going to have that good of a season. Speaking of fantasy, what is everybody's thoughts of who goes first this year? I mean, do you take the risk? I don't think anybody's going to take the risk on Christian McCaffrey this year. But do you take a lower risk at Derrick Henry? Do you go for the sure thing in Jonathan Taylor? Do you go Alvin Kamara? Do you go Dalvin Cook? Do you go Aaron Jones? I mean, that's a tough decision to make this year, I believe. Do you, in the first round, go wide receiver? I just who's the best position this year? I feel like running backs is actually a really hard one to judge who should be number one because one, who knows, is Matt Ryan going to take a little bit off Jonathan Taylor's plate because they trust him to throw the ball a little better? Do you draft someone like Chris Carson higher because they don't have a quarterback? It's fantasy this year. I think is going to be kind of harder to judge. Oh, see, AJ Dillon too, but do you take I don't know. I personally have a hard time drafting a running back that splits carries. So last year I had Nick Chubb. I ended up getting third place in one of the fantasy leagues I was in. I had Nick Chubb like halfway through the season. I traded him, and I traded him because I was getting yardage with Nick Chubb, but they would bring Kareem Hunt in for the touchdown. Oh, I forgot Kamara was going to be suspended or is suspended because of that getting arrested. I forgot about him. Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams. You could argue Debo. Me personally, I'm probably going to take Cordero Patterson kind of high this year. He had a hell of a year last year. Plus, he can be used at wide receiver, flex, running back. Like he's going to be up there for me. Jonathan Taylor has to go number one. I can agree with that. Hear me out. I think Devontae Adams flops this season. Wow. It could happen because Hunter Renfrow is going to take catches away from him. Darren Waller is going to take catches away from him. Like Green Bay had some decent pass catchers, but Hunter Renfrow is better than any wide receiver on the Green Bay Packers offense. So Devontae Adams has to share catches with him. So I could definitely see tight end. Definitely going to be Kyle Pitts. I took a risk last year and I drafted Travis Kelce in the third round, I think. Second round, I think. I drafted him extremely early. But this year, Kyle Pitts is going to be a guy that I go after early because if you can score points at the tight end position in fantasy football, just like at the defensive side, odds are you're going to win your fantasy games when you can get 15 points out of your tight end.
Yeah,
I hardly ever go quarterback early because there's so much production everywhere. I mean, if you've got a 10-man league, there's 10 quarterbacks that you can draft, and your 15th or 16th ranked quarterback can score just as much points on certain games.
I had to kill a giant cockroach.
Okay, that's disgusting.
Yeah, I know. But I killed it, so we're good.
Give him a round of applause.
Oh, are you talking about Kyle Pitts? Kyle Pitts? I think, yeah, he's definitely going to be a top tight end. I think he's going to get a lot more touchdowns than he did this year. I know last year he only had one, but he's still a rookie. But definitely he's going to get a lot more targets in a red zone this year. And I think if you're picking a tight end, Kyle Pitts is going to be the way to go this year in fantasy.
But I think that's something Matt Ryan kind of struggled with some in his career, was getting his best target. Let me not blame Matt Ryan. I want to blame the offensive coordinator here.
Well, because remember, he did it with Tony G. Tony G had a ton of touchdowns.
Okay, but top targets in Atlanta don't get touchdowns often, and you can see it with Julio Jones, where he's had years where he's only had 3 or 4 touchdowns. Kyle Pitts last year didn't get a lot of touchdowns. Cordero Patterson as a running back only had 14 touchdowns, I think. So, like, hopefully this year they take a step forward in that direction for fantasy football purposes.
Mhm.
I
I
would
really
like to see
hope.
Cordell Patterson in a multi-role situation where he's playing wide receiver and running back to score 20 touchdowns this year.
Yeah, I'd also see if anyone has fantasy and anyone that's Kyle Pitts in a fantasy, I want Kyle Pitts to score more touchdowns. And if someone does pick Drake London, hope he gets some touchdowns as well in his rookie season. That'd be very, very cool. There's a lot of good offensive weapons for fantasy on Atlanta this year. And you can pick whoever you want. Pick Kyle Pitts, Cordero Patterson, Drake London, 3 right there. Yeah, and with Ridley being suspended and Russell Gage in Tampa, yeah, his biggest competition. Okay, his competition is Drake London, and that's not hard competition. I know Drake London could be really good, but Kyle Pitts is gonna be relied on even more, even with Calvin Ridley gone, because they don't have that. He doesn't have that check down. Marcus Mariota won't have that check down now. Russell Gage was for Matt Ryan. He won't have Calvin Ridley, who was a kind of that mid route kind of specialist and deep route running specialist as well. So now Kyle Pitts is going to be even better, and in my mind, get even more targets because you can't rely on a rookie to be leading your team in receptions and yards. I don't think anyone can rely on a rookie, even if they're the best rookie in the rookie wide receiver in the class. But they did add Braylon Edwards as well on Atlanta. I think he's gonna get some catches. He's a tall, physical receiver as well. He came from Las Vegas and the Raiders. He could also get some good receptions as well. And there's just a lot of wide receivers and tight ends, wide receivers in general in fantasy, regardless. So you definitely can wait, at least till the second or third round, because wide receivers are gonna come up plenty. There's a plenty of wide receivers to choose from every single team.
Especially them Jacksonville Jaggies.
Yeah.
I'm taking Jamal Agnew this year somewhere, probably.
Okay. I'm gonna take Kyle Pitts or Drake London. Already had. Oh yeah, definitely. If you guys want to be part of our,
Yeah, MT. That's going to be the big thing is whoever's at quarterback being able to get the ball to these players. The good news is their height advantage in Atlanta. They have 6'5", 6'4". I'm pretty sure Cordell Patterson's up there in that height range as well.
yeah. Avenging Pineapple.
Yeah, so this is the PI podcast. We talk all sports here. Well, mainly football. We'll talk sports every once in a while, but
yeah, in ATL though, Marcus Mariota is gonna be come down to Marcus Mariota and whatever they do with Desmond Ridder, because Desmond Ridder could sit a year if Marcus Mariota is playing well enough. And I think I'm not saying Marcus Mariota is gonna be he's gonna be one of the top quarterbacks in the NFC, but I think he has learned from being under Derek Carr for a little bit, and I think that's only gonna help him and make some better decision making and make he's also a veteran, so he knows the quarterback role, so that's just only going to help Desmond Ridder if he does start. And they got a very good relationship between both quarterbacks. So I think Marcus Mariota, I think he's going to surprise some people, hopefully.
Yeah, Patterson had a really good year last year. He helped me get third in my fantasy league. I want to say what really held me back was week 16 and 17. I literally had only won one game. So yeah, I started off my season 10-1, and I ended it with 3 losses, unfortunately.
Oh my god. I was spraying the cockroach with some roach killer, right? I think something got on my mouth. Oh, yeah, no, well, it says PI, which is a term in football called pass interference. So it does kind of look like like it's an numerical term, or even PIE, but definitely means pass interference and is our names minus per touch. His name's Ian. Up there, up there. Wait, let me see. Up there. So yeah. I don't know if I have a favorite pie, but I like the Hershey Sundae pie from Burger King.
I don't like pie at all. I hate pie. Hate talking about pie. I know it doesn't look like I don't like pie, but I don't like pie. And if you are interested in joining a fantasy football league, we're starting up a fantasy football league. It's in the Discord. Just join the Discord. We're live streaming on Twitch and YouTube. So if you're getting tired of the YouTube, go to Twitch. And if you're getting tired of Twitch, go to YouTube.
Well, it is not a pie podcast. It is the PI Pass Interference podcast dedicated to football. So appreciate you for stopping by, but there's no more pie here. Goodbye.
Sorry.
Sorry, that was a little rude, but
It had to be said.
had to be said. If you're here for football, definitely we love you. But I said my favorite pie. It says chocolate Hershey Sundae pie, and I don't care about pie other than that. Yeah.
What quarterback would you like to have on your fantasy football team?
I would honestly, I like Kyler Murray a lot. But kind of if I can get him in the third or fourth round.
Okay, so I like this. First, MT, yeah. So there's a buy-in league and a free league. Feel free to join whichever one you want. It's a $10 buy-in. The winner is going to take the entire pot. So we get 8 people in there, it's $80. We get 12 people in there, $120. So definitely join. Eddie's question, I really like it. If you had to pick one rookie who will have the biggest breakout season, who you got? There's so many different answers I could give here, and I might give them all.
Yeah, that's
so you can go first.
Okay, let me get my bias out of the way and say Drake London. But it's a little bit not biased just because he was the first wide receiver to be taken off the board and he has high expectations. But I think he's such a physical beast. If you saw his highlights from college, he's such a physical beast that there's so many corners that don't have that physicality. I think he can go up and get contested catches. And with some receivers around him, he'll only get open more because if someone's double team Kyle Pitts and someone's worrying about Braylon Edwards being super tall and being a huge guy, who's going to worry about Drake London?
Okay, so I'm going to give a couple answers here.
I also like James Cook, the Buffalo Bills running back.
Yes, so James Cook is my favorite running back. I think he's going to have a really good rookie season. I think he's going to be a very big part of that Bills offense. However, I like George Pickens in Pittsburgh. I like Nakobe Dean to have a very good season. I like Devin Lloyd. That's my bias pick. Linebacker for Jacksonville. Playing side by side with Oluokun. I like Aiden Hutchinson. I like Sauce Gardner. I think Sauce Gardner is going to have one of the better cornerback seasons out of all the rookies.
Yeah, Sauce Gardner is looking really, really good. I like Aiden Hutchinson a lot. I also like Trayvon Walker too.
Yeah, I like Trayvon Walker, but like I said last podcast, it's going to take him some time to learn the position. I think it's going to take at least a season before he really starts cooking.
Yeah, and I think Aiden Hutchinson has the raw talent to do it now. In Detroit as well.
I like Nakobe Dean because I think he's not going to have that big spotlight on him. Because he was drafted so late. I think he's just going to play the game of football. I think he's going to try to prove himself. So I like Nakobe Dean. Like I said, I like Devin Lloyd. I think he's got potential to be a leader on the defensive side of the ball for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Aiden Hutchinson, wish he would have been in Duval, but We had a really good discussion with what's the check down on actually Aiden Hutchinson and Trayvon Walker pick. Trayvon Walker is from the Georgia area. It was really smart to draft him to Jacksonville, and Aiden Hutchinson's from Michigan, so it was really smart to draft him to Detroit.
Yeah. Before we get to that, Traylon Burks, I think with how that offensive system would in Tennessee works, with just pounding down Derrick Henry and play action, I think Traylon Burks could have a very good season just because the way that offense is built. Because people are gonna commit. I've seen it plenty of times on Derrick Henry, and when you do that, and when you get the play action game going, Traylon Burks could find a way to get wide open deep, and he's gonna have a lot of opportunities like that.
Avenging Pineapple on Twitch, he's like addicted to pie. So he said, instead of asking for $10 for the buy-in league, maybe give people a slice of pie. But the good news is we're gonna give the winner of the free league a free gift. So if you like pie, join the league, win, and then pie can be your gift of winning.
So I think I would know who that name is, but yeah. Sauce Gardner, I think, is the best corner in the draft, Eddie, and definitely Jalen Ramsey-esque with the way he's cocky and the way he talks crap about everybody. Just the amount of confidence that he has, um, the amount of confidence that he has is just off the roof, and like Jalen Ramsey, and that's a very good very good mindset to have when you're a cornerback, thinking you're the best, thinking you're gonna cover smother opposing wide receivers.
Burke's asthma, yeah, that is going to be a big factor for him. However, I feel like, obviously, I don't think I have asthma, but practice and games are way different. So I know you're going at a lower intensity at practice, but you're nonstop playing in practice. So what I'm saying with that is, yes, he's got asthma, but I mean, at most, he's running a few routes. They don't get a first down. He goes back to the sideline and is sitting for a minute. You swap out on certain packages as well on offense. So, I don't think the asthma in games is going to be as bad as it is in practice. Like I said, I don't have asthma. I don't know what triggers it. Obviously, physical activity probably does, but. And yes, today was 93 degrees here in Jacksonville today. So the south does get very hot and it's humid. So it makes it harder to breathe in the humid weather.
Yeah, definitely it is very hot, MT. But you gotta look at how there's a lot of players probably in the NFL that has asthma and are able to control it no matter where they play. There's some legends even that had asthma that controlled it very well. Jerome Bettis, Emmitt Smith, just name a couple. They all had asthma and they were able to to not let it slow them down in their careers. And Jerome Bettis was trucking people left and right. He was a running back. Probably one of the most heaviest things, definitely in the breathing aspect.
And not to mention, you're not playing all your games in the South. You travel. So, I mean, 17-game season, but I think it's 8 or 9 that are home games. And then the other 8 are spent somewhere else where maybe the air is a little thinner, a little thicker. That'll help him during game day.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
I don't think the NFL is gonna make him play while he's having an asthma attack if he had one.
Yeah, there's a lot of precautions that the NFL does and the NFLPA they do to prevent stuff like that from affecting players. And there's some things Traylon Burks himself can do to prevent himself from having an asthma attack on the field. I think there's just so much medically that they have that we've advanced in right now that I don't think it's gonna be too big of a problem for him. And yeah, Richard Sherman, Jalen Ramsey, exactly that confident attitude that really good corners have. Richard Sherman had it, and he was a lockdown corner for a good bit of his career with Seattle. So definitely, Sauce Gardner. I also really like Derek Stingley as well. Derek Stingley could be really good for the Texans, but with that defense, who knows if he's gonna have a breakout season.
Yeah, I think Derek Stingley is going to have a hard time. You got to think, even though like the corner's job is to guard a wide receiver or guard his zone or whatever, part of a good corner is also having a good safety behind you for those times you get beat. A good safety will help prevent the big play that'll make you look bad. So I think the Jet situation with Robert Saleh over there, he's in a way better situation than Derek Stingley in the Tennessee or in Houston. I think Derek Stingley is going to need another corner or two on his team before he can really make a name for himself.
Yeah, there's just too many question marks on that defense for Texans that even though you could be a really good corner, but your whole team, it helps to have a whole defense with you, not just having him by himself covering everybody.
I watched a little bit of Burks's highlights. I pay attention to college football a little bit, nowhere near as much as I do NFL. But as a Gator fan, I mean, I try to watch most of the games.
100% empty. Traylon Burks high school, college highlights as well. He does fit with that Titans offense very well, and maybe one of the reasons why Mike Rabel was okay with letting AJ Brown go, even though I kind of don't like that trade, just because AJ Brown was proven to be really good for your organization. I know they basically kind of replaced him. You can't say they replaced him because we don't know how Traylon Burks is going to be, but
Yeah.
Traylon Burks does look like a physical monster, and he does fit well.
Yeah, he only got better in college too. Looking at his stats, first year, 475 yards, no touchdowns. Next year, doubled it with 820 yards and 7 touchdowns. And then the next year, 1,100 yards and 11 touchdowns. And yes, avenging Pineapple, the Texans defense is not very good.
Yeah. I don't expect them to take a leap this year, but they are starting to be in that rebuilding process. So it's definitely going to take some time for them. Where do you get those French fries from?
They're actually frozen,
Oh, okay.
but well, they're cooked now, right? But Checkers fries.
Okay. I don't think I've had Checkers fries too much, but I know they're
good,
okay. Now you got me wanting some fries. Oh my god, that's gonna be nice.
Yes, I did actually. I didn't know that, but when I was just looking at his stats, they had defensive stats for him as well. But I just closed out of that page, unfortunately.
The Titans' offense is gonna look a whole lot different because they're gonna have to rely on Derrick Henry a little bit more.
Yeah,
which he can't do.
I really hope. So I'm a Jaguars fan. I hate talking good about the Titans, but I don't want to see Derrick Henry injured again. I think injuries are terrible for the game of football. I want to see every team compete at the highest level possible that they can compete at. I hate seeing injured players. Like, I wish Christian McCaffrey would have played all last year. I wish Odell wouldn't have went down in the Super Bowl like we were talking about. I wish Julio wouldn't have went down with injuries. I wish Jimmy G wouldn't have got his shoulder hurt. Baker Mayfield, I wish he wouldn't have had to play with a hurt shoulder. Imagine Baker Mayfield didn't get hurt last year. What would the conversations be now? Would Deshaun Watson be a Falcon right now? Because the Browns wouldn't have even been interested in him, maybe?
Yeah, and if Baker doesn't hurt his shoulder, how many games do they win? Do they win more games? Who knows? Possibility that without his hurt shoulder, none of those passes that he overthrew with his hurt shoulder, they could have been
Odell
complete.
doesn't even go to the Rams, possibly, because Baker Mayfield's dad doesn't have any clips to show on Instagram of him overthrowing his son.
Oh my god.
Avenging Pineapple on Twitch said, surprisingly, the Vikings defense had the best overall OSL average. I am very high on the Vikings this year. I'm extremely high on the Vikings with an offensive-minded head coach. O'Connell is 10 times the coach Zimmerman will ever be.
Zimmer. Yeah.
Zimmerwoman.
Zimmerwoman, okay. New nickname. The
I forgot it
Vikings
was
have.
Zimmer, not Zimmerman.
It's
But
all
whatever.
good. It's whatever. The Vikings have all the pieces they need right now, and the fact that they haven't. It's one of the frustrating things that they haven't been able to make the playoffs the last few years. Even though when the roster is built to make the playoffs, they have just looking from a stat sheet, like just looking at the roster based on paper. You're thinking they're supposed to be a playoff team, but they
Yeah,
haven't the
100%.
last few years. And I think Mike Zimmer was he was good for a little bit, but I don't think in the last few years it hasn't been working with him. And I think they really needed to change.
The Discord link, if you click on the description of the video and go to the link tree, it's on there. I just realized it's not a clickable link though. Let me make it a clickable link real quick.
Yeah, you also got to remember that Kirk Cousins had an underrated year that not many people I see are talking about. Only 8 interceptions to like 30 plus touchdowns. That's a very good interception rate.
All right, https://www. Ooh, excuse me. What the hell was that?
I don't know. Too many fries. I guess you also have a coach named Les.
No, don't say it, Pratesh.
I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say
He's
it.
trying to mess with
I'm
you.
not gonna say it. I read it before. Oh,
You almost got him though, at Avenging Pineapple. I'm impressed.
almost got me. Almost.
You almost got him. That was very impressive.
And the thing was, I started saying it, then I kept read the rest of it, and then I was like, oh, well. All right. So while we're on the NFC North,
Cousins might choke in big games, but I don't know. I think that's part of the coaching. I think coaching has been very poor to Kirk Cousins.
yeah, Cousins can be bad. Isn't he? Doesn't he have a portable playoff primetime record or something like that?
Primetime record, yes.
Yeah, his primetime record is horrible. I don't know why. Maybe it's the lights. I don't know. The big lights under him. But he did have such an underrated season last year, and he has all the weapons around him. So they have him for another 1 year deal, and maybe who knows, this may be his last year or second to last year. So 2 more years left with Kirk Cousins, and let's see how far he's gonna go.
Like I think the Vikings roster is too good. I think Zimmer held them back, and I think O'Connell makes them a very pass happy, which I think Kirk Cousins is a very smart decision maker with the football. He's not going to light you up with his arm talent or anything like that, but he's very, very smart with the football.
Yeah, and that roster every year, the last few years has been supposed to be a playoff team. That's the frustrating thing. That roster is supposed to make the playoffs. They're supposed to make the playoffs this year. To make the playoffs last year. They were supposed to make the playoffs the year before that, and the year after that. Before that, they were supposed to make the playoffs. I hope.
Yeah, what's up,
well.
DJ?
DJ. We're doing good.
And also, their division has been really easy lately. Granted, the Green Bay Packers always going to be up there, but the fact that the Lions and the Bears have not been anything special, especially the Lions, they should 100% at least been fighting for the wild card spot every year.
I hope they can make playoffs this year. They definitely have every right and every opportunity to. And if it doesn't, it's going to be another letdown season. I think fans are going to be angry, which they have been. Last time they made the playoffs wasn't with Kirk Cousins, it was with Case Keenum and the Minneapolis Miracle. So
Yep. And really, they shouldn't have won that game.
yeah,
Obviously, that miracle doesn't happen. They don't make it. They're in a huge playoff drought if that happens.
and then they get blown out in the next game.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Big sideline touchdown.
Yeah, but when I saw that, I was like, momentum's a big part of the NFL. Like, if a team has momentum, it can help so much. The only thing that frustrates me is that should have given the Vikings so much momentum. Going into that championship game, and yet to just lay an egg right there and get blown out, I don't know how that happens, especially with all the momentum you had.
Well, it's like Green Bay. They win all these games in the regular season, and you can't do it in the playoffs. And you're like, how? Like,
Exactly. And they were supposed to do it this year too. San Francisco shut them down. Aaron Rodgers didn't play well either. So
yep. I'm interested to see the Green Bay Packers this year because this year they've literally have all their eggs in Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers is a basket, all their eggs are in him right now. Which there wasn't much they could do once Devontae Adams left. Who were they really going to get that made sense?
yeah,
I think they played this year with Aaron Rodgers. Then once he retires, they can focus on Jordan Love. Then they can build around him if that's what they want to do. But the problem is Jordan Love's been in the league 2 years now. Right? He was 2 years in the league.
yeah.
Aaron Rodgers for sure playing this year, which means he's going to be in the league 3 years. You've wasted Jordan Love's rookie contract. That's when you build a team is around a rookie contract because you're not paying your quarterback anything. So now, if you do stick with Jordan Love, you're going to end up having to pay him something, and then you're not going to be able to build a good enough roster, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Or you sign him to a really small deal for like a 4-year, I don't know, like $50 million or something. I don't know what you can pay someone like that. Someone who's played like no snaps in the NFL, yet the quarterback position so like it's worth a lot. So like I'm sure somebody else would pay Jordan Love 4 years, $100 million or something to at least pay him 25 a year after he's done with his rookie contract because hey, this guy sat behind Aaron Rodgers for crying out loud. He's got to be decent.
Yeah.
So he's not going to get a cheap contract.
Yeah, and also he's been sitting under Aaron Rodgers for a little bit now, and with the extension that Aaron Rodgers now has, what was the point of drafting Jordan Love if he's never even going to see the starting field? I mean, everyone was clowning them for making that pick in the first round. They could have got another wide receiver that could have been still could have been on the Packers this year, if they taken him. And now Jordan Love just sitting behind Aaron Rodgers. Who knows when he's going to play, or if he's not even going to be on the team within a few years.
Yeah, it's really tough. I mean, the Packers definitely wasted that pick, 100%. Even if they somehow, Aaron Rodgers retires, they get him, then Jordan Love wins the Super Bowl in 5 or 6 years. Still a waste of a pick because you could have got him in free agency or something, or you could have got him with a 6th-round pick or something.
Yeah.
Instead, you use a 1st-round pick on a guy or a 2nd-round pick that's never going to play.
Mm-hmm. It just weird as well. Just to have him draft him so high in the 1st round even and not even play him. It's like just that's a horrible decision right there. So I got these the biggest cap hits for offense, non-quarterback, and largest defensive cap hits for this year. I'm gonna go with the offense first, and if there's any names that stick out, Ian, just go ahead and say anything and just let me know. The biggest cap hits offense for this year, non-quarterback, Kenny Golladay with the Giants, $21.2 million
Wow.
is his cap hit. Garrett Bowles for the Broncos, $21 million. DJ Humphries, Cardinals, $19 million. Keenan Allen for the Chargers, $19 million as well. Taylor Decker for the Lions, $18.9 million. Ronnie Stanley for the Ravens, $18.5 million. Donovan Smith for the Bucks, $18 million. And you're gonna like this last one, Ian. Ezekiel Elliott with the Cowboys, $18.2 million.
You're paying a running back to be a top. How many people did you name?
Eight.
A top 8 cap hit, yet he hasn't produced anything in the last couple of years except injuries.
Zeke.
And not to mention, you only listed 2 names that were like good.
Damn. Well, the others are offensive linemen and stuff like that. But...
Yeah, I get the offensive line, but like really the only people on this list that make sense to me, Ronnie Stanley, Keenan Allen.
Yeah, that's really only 2 I can see. Yeah, and Zeke hasn't. He's played good in his rookie season, but after that, where's the production that you want to see? I mean, he had a decent last season, but Tony Pollard, you could argue that he even had a really good season. That he had the same exact season. So definitely Ezekiel Elliott, very big cap hit. Let's see how he plays this year. Do the Cowboys still see him in their eye as very high starting running back? Do they see him at the end of this year? If he does bad at the end of this year, do you see the Cowboys still sticking with him?
No, you have Tony Pollard right behind him.
Yeah. I also got the largest.
I was going to say last year 1,000 yards. The year before 979. In 2019, 2018. He had 1,300 and 1,400 yards, very good years. But what's he done? Granted, you can argue some of his production's been stolen from Tony Pollard, but $1,000 or 18. What did you say? $18 million for 1,000 yards rushing. And like I said, I'm a Jags fan, so I can speak on like Jaguar football more than I can other teams. James Robinson was an undrafted free agent his rookie year and got over 1,000 yards rushing. His cap hit was like $1 million, not even.
They're gonna have to see what they do with Ezekiel Elliott. 1,000 rushing yards isn't bad. I'm not saying it's bad. It's decent, but to pay him that much and only not get the production like Derrick Henry, you could say. There's why are you paying him that much? That's the only question. Why are you paying Zeke that much?
Yeah, you can't. Derrick Henry's a type of back that you can put literally your entire offense on his shoulders, and he will provide. He will provide for you. Christian McCaffrey, when he's healthy, also one of those guys. It makes sense they paid him what they paid him because he's the type of player you can build your entire offense around. You can literally hand him the ball every single play, and you have a chance to win football games. Ezekiel Elliott is not that guy.
You heard it. Ian doesn't think Ezekiel Elliott is the starting running back for the Cowboys. You don't think he's gonna be worth it in the long run. Yeah. I definitely just based on the stats and based on everything, his production hasn't been there. And we're gonna see this year if Zeke's gonna have another year like that, a decent year. Not anything great, but a decent year. And let's see how Tony Pollard plays. I would love to see him
have one. Well. I would love to see him have a good year. Like I said, I like there's football teams I don't really care for, but I still want to see every player productive at a high level so that way we can watch the best football possible.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, handing the ball to Ezekiel Elliott, I would rather hand the ball to Tony Pollard right now.
Damn. Okay.
And then for fantasy running backs, we were talking about this earlier while you were gone. It's really hard for me to draft a running back that has a backup running back that's going to get production. So like this year, there's some running backs that I personally don't really want to draft really high Christian McCaffrey, staying away from him because of his injury history. But even if he was healthy, Chuba Hubbard has proven he can take snaps away from Christian McCaffrey. Chuba Hubbard had a good year last year.
He had a decent year. I had him in fantasy when Christian McCaffrey went down. Not very good for me, fantasy-wise.
They were giving him a big load, but a half the size load. I think Christian McCaffrey comes back because of his injury history. He doesn't get the ball as much because they're trying to preserve his career, which means Chuba Hubbard's going to get slightly more production because he proved he can run the ball decently. So Christian McCaffrey's stock has went down a lot. Derrick Henry's still up there. Jonathan Taylor still up there.
Austin Eckler's still up there too. He's still
Austin
getting so many
Eckler, yeah,
touchdowns.
still up there. Joe Mixon still up there, kinda.
Patterson, even you could put up there.
Who?
Cordero.
Oh yeah, I have Cordell Patterson up there. Yeah, I like him because I drafted him at running back. I put him at wide receiver.
Oh, yeah.
So technically, my offense last year had Leonard Fournette, Nick Chubb, Darnell. Damn, what? I can't remember his name for some reason for the Rams.
Oh,
the running back.
Cam Akers?
Daryl Henderson, sorry.
Oh, Daryl Henderson.
I said Darnell, okay. That's why it screwed me up. Daryl Henderson and Cordell Patterson at wide receiver. So I had 4 running backs playing on my team.
Oh my god.
And then I drafted Travis Kelce because if you can get a good tight end, so like this year at tight end, Kyle Pitts, Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews. I want to say Pat Freiermuth, but since they just got George Pickens and they have the top 3 wide receiver in Claypool, I don't know if I can put Pat Freiermuth up there. I don't think he's going to get the ball that much.
Yeah, it's on Najee too, so definitely.
Exactly. Najee Harris, yes. I forgot about him. He has no competition there. He is the running back. Dalvin Cook has Maddox right there on the bench ready to take a spot. Ezekiel Elliott has Tony Pollard right there on the bench ready to take a spot. Cam Akers, Daryl Henderson Jr. right there on the Rams. San Francisco 49ers with Raheem Mostert leaving. I don't know who their guy is.
Trey Sermon. And
Trey Sermon
and the other one, they're both good. They have 2 good backs.
Yeah, they do. Those are the running backs I stay away from with my first pick because their backup. That, like I said last year, I had Nick Chubb. Every week I played against Kareem Hunt, they matched points because Nick Chubb would start at the 25, drive down to the 10, and then Kareem Hunt would come in, get 10 yards on a touchdown every time last year. Literally, he would get a touchdown for 7 points. Nick Chubb would get 7 points for driving down the field. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to go with, who did I end up getting? I got Daryl Henderson off the waiver wire when Cam Akers went down. And he ended up being very good for me. But like I said, I'm personally not getting a running back that has competition in the backfield. So like James Robinson, not taking him. Travis Etienne's right there. In Buffalo, like I'm not taking Devin Singletary or James Cook this year because they're going to compete with each other. And I think that affects their fantasy value. I think they're both going to be good backs. Like I think they're going to have good years. But I need the most production. I would take James Conner in Arizona because he got 20 touchdowns last year. That's a solid running back to have. Jonathan Taylor, 20 touchdowns, 1,800 yards. Like, you're going to get a lot of production out of him. Derrick Henry, he'll get a lot of production.
Yeah. There's so many running backs. There's so many wide receivers. You gotta pick who's gonna get the ball more, and with these 2 running back rooms, these 1-2 punches, they're gonna get split timing. They're not gonna get one person, not gonna get the other unless they're injured. And you could see the heavy load for the second 1-2 punch.
Yeah, and that's a little bit. I might use my later draft picks to draft their backups. Like I would maybe take the risk on Chuba Hubbard late. I would maybe take I don't think Travis Etienne's a risk because I think they're going to use him at wide receiver a lot. I see him having a multi-role, kind of like a Deebo Samuel type role, but not as good. It's going to be the Walmart version of Deebo Samuel, at least in his first couple years. But Travis Etienne, I think's someone that I could take kind of high. Trying to think of who else would be a good take kind of early.
Alvin Kamara.
Well, I think he's suspended.
Oh, suspended the first few weeks? Oh, yeah, I think so. Yeah, because of fighting.
Yeah, I don't know if he is suspended yet. The ideal option would to have Kamara serve out a suspension at the beginning of the season, missing the first 6 games. He has not been suspended yet, though.
Okay.
But he's going to be. Like, I don't see that not happening. But he might be someone I take in the 6th round because I know he'll come back healthy. You know, I won't mind wasting a later pick because I know somebody's going to pick him up off the waiver wire a week or I might save it. You know, if he gets a 6-game suspension, I might go get him off the waiver wire week 4.
Yeah.
Use a roster spot. I don't know if you can put... Can you put a suspended player on the injured reserve? I think you can put anybody on the injured reserve.
Yeah, I think you should be able to. Suspended, yeah, if they're suspended, you should be able to.
So that might be something to do. Just keep him on the waiver wire so when he comes back, you've got a healthy, rested running back halfway through the season.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's had games where he scored 6 touchdowns before, so you time that right. Have a breakout season, breakout game.
Yeah. And he's getting a lot of touchdowns as well.
All right. Anything else?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well, guys, we appreciate everybody stopping in. Avenging Pineapple from Twitch, thanks for stopping in. On YouTube, we had a bunch of people on YouTube today. We had DJ, we had MT Prod, we had Eddie, we had Drake, we had Ian, we had Pratesh.
Oh. Yeah.
Optimistically cynical came in on YouTube as well. I think that was it.
Yeah. We appreciate every one of you for stopping by and hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. We'll be back live Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern for another one.
Yep. Every Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, 10 p.m. Eastern, where you're watching it right now, Twitch or YouTube. And then eventually we'll upload them all to Spotify and Anchor and
every single stream platform.
Google Podcast and
Apple Music Podcast, yeah. Everything. But thank you guys for watching. Oh, what?
Yeah. I was going to say probably your mom's iTunes account.
Okay.
But yeah, thank you guys for watching. It's always fun talking with you guys. Really, these podcasts has been really fun these last few because there hasn't been much to talk about. So we're talking about what you want to talk about. And it's making really good discussions because we're blindly getting the questions. So we have to react to it right then. Like, we don't get a day to think about it. We literally have to say what's on our head right then and there, which is, it's fun to do that way.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you guys for commenting and keeping us intact and giving us these fire questions. So thank you guys for watching the podcast. We'll be back on Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss it. I'm going to have a lot of fun there. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you for watching the PI Podcast. Make sure you subscribe and tune in next time so you don't miss the latest news in the NFL world. You can also follow us on TikTok at PI Podcast and on Twitter at PI Podcasters. Until next time.